If the known data is only rotation, which formula will be applied for yield calculation is Bol-Mentor formula. Bol-Mentor formula for yield calculation require the enumeration of tree down to half of rotation age, and the Howard formula for yield calculation required the enumeration of tree down to one third of rotation age, and Sim- Smith's formula for yield calculation required the enumeration of tree down to timber limit diameter only. Burma's formula for yield calculation required the enumeration of tree down to half of rotation age. Australian method of yield calculation is suitable for both normal and abnormal growing stocks. Australian formula for yield calculation is YR is equals to GR into YN by GN, and अर्को छ फर्मुला फर yield calculation based upon increment and GIS is Mason formula. French method of yield calculation is based on increment. One of the sign of normality in irregular forest is age gradation and age classes. To be a normal forest and irregular forest must have the volume, proportion of young, middle, and old age classes tree as 3 is to 3 is to 5. Rotation applied to manage proportion forest is physical rotation, which statement is true. MI is average of CI at culmination point. Yield regulation in a short rotation crop is by increment. Method of yield regulation applied in high irregular forest is based on volume. If the volume of growing stock is known, the formula applied for yield regulation is Bol-Mentor formula, and we can see the filling time of forestry is determined by management plan, and the sustained yield means the material that a forest can yield annually or periodically. A productive forest can produce major product and prevent erosion, and a forest work plan is a written scheme of management. A normal forest has a normal increment. A normal series of age gradation is the when tree fail certain age limit occur mixed together on the same time area. A normal forest is a purely artificial conception. The actual increment in volume each year is a current annual increment. Total increment up to any specific age divided by the age is the measurement increment, and we can see the current annual increment is small in the seed stage. The current annual increment attain its maximum before mean annual increment. When the CI is equal to the MI, the MI is stationary, and we can see at the time of culmination the MI curve is stationary, and maximum volume per area is obtained if the crop is filled at the edge at which the CI and MI curve meet. And increment percent is an expression of the relation between increment and volume. Increment percent is useful in forest management if in fixing the yield. Okay, the increment percent is equal to increment by volume into 100. Increment percent is very large in the early stage of the crop. When the MI culminate भने CI is equals to MI. The growing stock can be determined by measuring girth and height of each tree. If I is the volume of the oldest plantation and R is the rotation in the clear filling system, at the end of the growing season the growing stock is equal to D is equal to I into R by 2 plus 1 by 2. Year between regeneration of a crop and its final filling is rotation, and in an irregular forest maturity is fixed by exploitable site. uh, in the case of successive regeneration filling, the rotation is only the average life of the crops. If 5-year-old transplant are used for a plantation which is allowed to grow for 100 years, the rotation would be 95 years. The rotation depends on the silviculture requirement of the species. In determining the length of the rotation, a forester has to depends on present statics. The working plan are usually revised every 5 or 7 year. Physical rotation is generally used in the case of protection forest and for the production of material of specific size and sustainability. For economic conversion is technical rotation is used. The rotation which yield the highest rate of increment is financial rotation. The distribution of age gradation or classes vary according to the sustainable silviculture system adopted. The the filling series would be increase on number of area equal in number of number to the number of year in the rotation under clear filling system. Under the clear filling system, annual area are known as annual cubes. Each difference is by 1 year and resulting in the formation of a series of age gradation. And a cutting section is a subdivision of filling series. If there is a variation in quality within the filling series, the area of the crop in poor quality will be smaller proportionality, and any variation in the density of stocking will mean a slightly reduced year. And under sheltered wood compartment system, the crop after regeneration is form is gradation. Under copies with the standard system, each year one coop is filled and mature crop is replaced by normal natural regeneration. The copies under copies with standard system as a normal series of age gradation. And the rotation of standard may be twice thrive or more than that of the copies. And yield regulation means fixing in advance the amount of timber and other product. Yield regulation carries three functions. And inner normal forest yield will be equal to annual increment, periodic increment of the forest. The aim of regulating the yield is cut about same amount of material each year. Here, the aim of regulating the yield is to cut each crop or tree at maturity. The aim of regulating the yield is limit the area to be cut annually to the that which can be regenerated. The yield is regulated for the period of the working plan, where the yield is prepared by n by area. The whole filling series is divided into annual cubes. The filling year that exact amount is specific in the working plan is neither possible or not desirable. The regulation of yield is which with respect to final yield plus thinning, thinning and cleaning uh, are purely silviculture operation. And you can see um, proper regulation of yield must take into consideration volume, age, and area of crops. The chief basis for the determination of the yield is the silviculture system. One of the chief basis for the determination of yield is the growing stock. The one of the chief basis for the determination of the yield is the objective of management. One of the chief basis for the determination of yield is the increment. The yield can be prescribed in three ways. The MAI of the mean quality will be total MAI by total area. The volume production per area depends on the species site quality and the total age. The method of yield regulation by area is applied by periodic block second in the uniform system. The annual yield for any forest is growing stock per rotation. Working circle can be formed for part of each range. A filling area usually one of annual series, preferably numbered with Roman number I 1 2 3 4 is called filling series. The periodic required to regenerated the whole of the periodic block is known as rotation period and regeneration period. Okay, here's your okay, the the time that elapses between successive main filling on the same area is filling cycle. And if the cycle were to be increased to rotation period, it would approach a selection system. If filling cycle is increased to rotation period, it would tantamount to a selection. And can see con- uh, continuity of growth and continuity of yield are harvest may focus with both A and B, sustained yield and sustained productivity. Continuity of harvest indefinitely without increment productivity of soil is the sustainable productivity. Variable yield to today to ensure sustain yield tomorrow is variable yield today to sustain yield tomorrow. And variable yield today and sustain yield tomorrow. Sustain yield management principle. The concept of envisages raising the productivity of soil is progressive yield, and sustain yield principle is applied to production function. Forest. A term generally applied to the determination of yield, and the prescribed means of the realize it is both yield regulation and yield prescription. The rotation which yield the highest net return on the investment capital is financial rotation. And a total showing the distribution of steam by diameter classes for each series of crop diameter is stand table. Conversion period is usually kept either same or less than rotation. When the tree of each S occurs on separate area, they continue as classes. The forest may be annual when all of the all of the above. The average annual increment for any short period is called CI. The CI increase constantly up to a maximum, and the volume rate each year to the total volume of stand is greater the MAI. Increment percent is calculated by Schneider formula. Schneider formula is applied to diffuse porous tree. The practical application of scientific, technical, and economic principle of forestry is for forest management. Forest management is okay. Forest management is not concerned with the production of honey and hives. The peculiarity of forest which make it different from other enterprise is time, nature, and identified of product and manufacturing plant. Forest enterprise need a management plan because long-term investment. The general objective of the forest management is okay. Forests are classified into various categories for the purpose of description, record, administration, and management. A forest area organized with a particular object and subject to one and the same syllabical system and the same set of working plan prescription is called working circle. A forest area divided into several parts for the sake of filling, regeneration, and S class distribution is called filling series. Subdivision of filling series to regulate cutting in some special manner is called coop. And a filling area usually one of an annual series unless otherwise state, and preferably number with Roman number is 1 2 3 and is called coop. Clear filling system create S class in the crop, and shelter system create S gradation in the crops. The forest where annual cutting is done in the forest is called coop. Clear filling system. A part of a forest set aside to be regenerated during a specific period is called periodic block in shelter system. Fewer than number of S class in a periodic block is fewer than number of periodic block. Larger number of periodic block has an effect on creating more even age crops. The crop which are due to filling are kept under periodic block I. A forest crop is said to be of uneven age if the difference of age is individual tree in a is 40 years. The periodic the period between seedling filling and final filling under cell rotor system is regeneration period. And in irregular selection forest, the criteria for filling is exploitable size. The series of tree of all age classes to enable the removal of the oldest is known as complete series of age gradation. In copies with the standard system, the yield of the copies is regulated by area. As a forest crop containing many S classes should be managed under selection system. A cutting section is subdivision of a filling series. The filling time of the forest is determined by management plan. And we can see to regulate cutting in some special manner, subdivision of a filling series is called cutting section. The part of forest set aside to be regenerated or otherwise treated during a specific period of its periodic block. Okay, the forest stand consisting of tree of the approximately same age in which differ up to a 25% of the rotation age may be allotted, where the stand is not harvested for 200 or more year is called even age forest. And the working plan is a written scheme of management aimed to at continuity of policy and action and controlling the treatment of a forest. Filling area usually one of an annual series in clear filling system is um, cube. Area of the periodic block shelter wood system is total area of filling series by number of periodic block. It is the filling which include opening the canopy of a mature stand is to provide condition for securing regeneration from the seed of tree uh, retained for the purpose. Preparatory filling in the shelter copy system, the tree are retained for protection from forest, wind, and other adverse effect. Shelter system is suitable for both light demanding and shade bearing species. The part of forest set aside to be regenerated or otherwise treated during a specific period is, okay, you can see periodic block, and which is done in periodic block. I second in shelter system is regeneration filling. If the filling cycle is increased to rotation, thus the selection system would tanta tantamount. Similar is clear filling system. Simple copy system is suitable for area where they may be demand of all. In copies with standard, the standard are kept for, okay. Which silviculture system do you adopt it to manage the deplete forest of thorai to fulfill the demand of fuel wood is a clear filling and copy systems, which is self-contained unit of forest management with a separate calculation of yield and a separate series of silviculture operation is working circle. And the forest area of one hectare consisting tree of all age from seedling to maturity on a separate copies is called uneven in forest. Which statement is wrong? The longer the regeneration period is shelter root system, it result in more even age. And you can see the silviculture system adopted in case the forest in even age is, okay. In copies with standard system, the part of copies is retained to form uneven age. A forest area organized with a particular object and subject to the same silviculture system and the same set of working plan prescribed is called working circle. A forest area divided into several parts for the sake of filling, regeneration, and S class distribution is filling series. And subdivision of a filling series to regulated cutting in some special manner is called cutting section. Clear filling system create S classes. And shelter root system is gradation. The area where annual cutting is done in the forest is called cube. Clear filling system. Fewer the number of years class in periodic block, fewer the number of periodic block. A large number of periodic block have an effect on creating more even edges. The time that elapses between successive filling on the same area is to filling cycle. longer filling cycle that has an effect on resultant crop is more irregular, and larger the number of age class in a periodic block is fewer the number of periodic block. And we can see, fewer the number of periodic block. Okay, filling cycle is defined as in a selection system, if the filling cycle is increased to rotation period, the system would approach the following: clear filling. And we can see which one of the silviculture systems, okay, which one of the following forest management system is not a silviculture system. भने चाहिँ improvement filling system is a not a silviculture system. Which of the following silviculture system is the best suited for management saline terrain? One of the objective of sal seeding feeding in is give more light to the seeding. Rotation, the concept of rotation is not applied copies with standard. Okay, the rotation which is not relevant to the economic forestry is physical. Selection, select the correct statement. Progressive yield is dynamic where sustained yield is statics. प्रोग्रेसिभ यिल्ड चाहिँ डाइनामिक हुन्छ, सस्टेन यिल्ड चाहिँ स्ट्याटिक्स हुन्छ. Which rotation will you prefer if large old tree with accompanying regeneration provides scenic beauty? Is silviculture rotation. Which of the following pair of rotation type have relatives possibility to impose harm to the productivity of site? Is silviculture and physical. And you can see length of the rotation depends on rotation. The rotation which consider the natural lifespan of a tree is silviculture rotation. If there is a special size of timber which fits a particular high price, the rotation which provide the price be to be the rotation highest income and consider with financial rotation. The rotation which consider coincide with the natural loss of life of a species on given site is silviculture rotation. The rotation in is adapted for the supply of poles, railway sleepers, sawlogs, paper wood, match wood. रोटेसन अब म्याक्सिमम भोल्युम प्रोडक्सन भन्यो भने भयो. द टर्म रोटेसन स्ट्रिक्टली स्पिकिङ किपिङ इज करेक्टली एप्लाइड टु अनि रोटेसन controlling the output of material forest product in form of quality is maximum volume production. Rotation controlling the financial rotation is conversion period is usually less than rotation age. Conversion loss हुन्छ rotation age. Which rotation gives the highest net return on investment capital? Rotation of highest income. And which type of rotation do you recommended for pulp and paper industry? Rotation of maximum volume production. And the rotation for which a specific retain satisfactory because of growth. And rotation on a given site is the silviculture rotation. The rotation which consider controlling the supply of certain species. The rotation which the age at which MAI culminate is technical rotation of maximum volume production. The rotation of Dalberg system 25 वर्ष. The rotation which gives the highest net return on capital value is financial rotation. And an average annual rate of growth up to rotation is MAI. Which of the following for which of the following statement is wrong? The maximum volume production can be obtained when MAI first. Wrong. Okay. Which of the following formula is used to determine the increment portion of ring porous? भनेपछि मेयर फर्मुला रिङ पोरसको मेयर फर्मुला. Crop diameter is the diameter of a tree corresponding to of uniform generally pure is mean diameter. And what is the best way to determining increment in tree without annual ring is हैन. The determination of the age of tree is important for rate of growth. And the object of stump analysis is okay. The period is short at the time of culmination of MAI. CI is still rising. CI and MAI coincide time in the lifetime, two times. And the determination of maximum volume production is that culmination point of MAI. Formula for increment percentage Schneider formula, and which two condition can define the normality condition, normal growing stock and normal increment. The concept of normality for normal is in mode of regeneration. The concept of sustained yield has none now been replaced by that of progressive yield originally advocated by German forester is Brandsnet. Trinity of norms was put forward by Brandsnet. Which of the following wrong? High forest system is one wrong. The normal increment, maximum increment attained by a given specific species and for a given rotation and per unit area on a given site. Normal forest is based on the principle of sustained yield. The tree of certain age mixed together constitute is gradation, and the tree of all age in appropriate quality separately constitute as norms. The sign of normality in very regular forest is the proper distribution of tree of all age classes. The attribute of a normal forest which can be avoided for normality is normal, and the attribute of a normal forest which make it an ideal condition is normal growing stock. Normal forest can be best achieved by clear felling system. Normal series of age gradation is meant by presence in the forest in appropriate quality tree of all age from 1 year old to rotation, and in a normal forest yield will be equal annual increment or periodic increment of the forest. Uh, the local occurrence of properties representative of different age classes in a forest, and normal series of age gradation. The normal concept in the copies of selection forest is based understood in the term of a balanced portion of all age and size classes. A forest which correspond in every way to the object of management is normal forest. The trinity of norm is oh, forest may be abnormal, usually all of the above. The basis for filling or regulating of yield is selection forest is exploitable size. The determination of age gradation or classes varies according to the silviculture system adopted. Condition determining the normality of forest area are in the fact all time. Growing stock is the sum by number and volume of all tree growing in the forest. The term is the term the term used denote the growing stock below the exploitable diameter left standing under a filling cycle is called residual growing stock. Determination of normal growing stock in clear filling system at the beginning of next growing season is a 1 into r by 2 minus 1 by 2. Determination of normal growing stock at the end of the growing season is given by I into r by 2. Determination of normal growing stock at the mid of the growing season is given by I into r by 2. In eucalyptus plantation, normal growing stock at the middle of the growing season 25 meter, and we can see